Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Untitled Chapter viewers. In this video, we are going to start a new series for you guys, a buyer's guide for the iPhone for 2020. So since the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro just came out, I'm going to be making head-to-head videos like the iPhone 12 versus the 12 Pro, the 12 Pro versus the 12 Pro Max. I'm even going to do iPhone 11 versus iPhone 12, and so on. So there's going to be a lot of videos coming out, and I think you guys are really going to benefit from these. Let's get right into it. This is going to be the first in the series, and this is just a broad overall video going over these phones, the new and the old, to hopefully help you guys make a better decision on which one to buy. So let's jump right into it. So I think first we should probably talk about Apple's older phones. So as you guys can see, if you go to Apple's website, click on iPhone, these are the ones you're going to see. The XR, the 11, the SE, the 12, and the 12 Pro. And real quick, just for reference, let's hop over to Apple's graphic from their latest keynote right here. They got the SE starting at $399, the XR starting at $499, the 11 at $599, 12 at $699, and 12 Pro from $999. 12 is kind of deceptive because that's for the mini one. The real 12 actually starts at $799. So with these prices in mind, we really have to nail down which features you're looking at. So let's actually start with the iPhone XR. So this is one that I think a lot of people are going to be moving away from. And the direct competitor to this one was actually the 11. So we'll put that one up here, and just for fun, let's say that you are in between all of these and you want possibly a 12. Here are all three of these lined up. So in Apple's lineup, they have different tiers. The 12 mini is going to be kind of like the 12, but in a much smaller form factor. So let's just go with the default 12 here. You can see the colors here. They're each quite a bit different, as well as the prices. So if you are on a super budget and you just want to dabble in the iPhone world, I think the XR is an okay choice, but I think you can get it for cheaper than $499. In fact, if you go on the used market, I bet you could find one of these for $250 to $300. So maybe you're just getting this for your kid or your first iPhone. You just want to kind of check it out. The XR is not bad. However, for the average person, I still recommend the 11 to a lot of people. It's still a very, very powerful phone. Everyone that I know that has one absolutely loves it. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're one of those people that just doesn't need the Pro model, but you still want the latest and greatest, the 12 is one to get. It has the OLED screen and a slightly smaller bezel. Of course, this one you have to pre-order, but let's talk about the display. Obviously, they're all the same, 6.1 across the board. The only difference, like I said, is this one is OLED. These two are the old LCD screens. So this one is going to look a lot better on the 12, so keep that in mind. Also, if 5G is something you care about, which for many of you, I know you probably don't care about it, 5G is something that only the 12 is going to get and not the XR or the 11. Now for cameras, unfortunately, the XR only has a wide angle. The 11 has an ultra wide and wide, and then the 12 has ultra wide and wide plus Dolby Vision HDR video recording up to 30 frames per second. Almost no one cares about that. So if you're on the fence between these two, the display doesn't matter, just get the 11, save yourself the money. Processor, the XR is a little older. The 13 is a huge step up from that. The 14 is a decent step up from that. The sweet spot right here is definitely the A13. Again, if you're on a budget, check that one out. They all have Face ID. Battery life is comparable to all of them. Not a huge difference. The 11 has decently better battery than the XR, unfortunately. It's just because of that chip in it. It's a little bit more efficient. Now the glass, I can't comment on ceramic shield just yet. It's supposed to be much better than regular. So if you drop your phone a lot, maybe go for the 12 and get yourself Apple Care. Water resistance probably doesn't matter for most people, but if it does, 12 has much better water resistance, but the 11 is probably good enough for most people. And the 12 is compatible with the new MagSafe accessories. Not a big deal there. Capacity, obviously, if you want more, you're going to have to go for the newer models. But again, that doesn't matter as much. So here's where I was talking about the display being so much better. It's a 2,000,000 to 1 contrast ratio on the 12 versus a 1,400 to 1. So the OLED display is going to look much, much better on the 12 than the 11. Now, can the average person actually see that? Probably not unless they're side by side. I don't think the average user cares too much about that. I mean, think of how many people you know that have the 11. Have they ever complained about the screen? Probably not. But again, the 12 is going to be future-proofed. It's going to look a lot better for a lot longer. Other than that, they're pretty similar here. Height and weight probably doesn't matter, and the rest of this we've already gone over. So that was a quick broad overview from these kind of a budget line of iPhones. Let's hop up into the Pros. So the only ones we're really going to talk about here, I guess we could throw in the XS, but we're really going to talk about the 11 Pro and the 12 Pro. So this line is like Apple's next up. So you want to take the next step with your phone and get something a little bit better. Some will argue that the that the 11 is actually better than the 10s, and that's actually true in most cases. The screen on the 10s is a little better, and most of Apple's marketing seems to say that the 10s is better than the 11. I don't really agree with that, but let's go over this. First of all, colors much more muted than the other budget line. So these are relatively professional colors, I guess you could say. Apple's new colors here for the 12 look really good. 12 Pro, I should say, Pacific Blue and Gold. In particular, those look awesome. Now here's where things get a little tricky. As you can see, these say available at authorized resellers. Apple's not really making these anymore, I don't think. I know they stopped the 10s a while back, but some retailers still have it. The 11 Pro, I think they're going to cut production of it as well if they haven't already. So if you want one of these, you're going to have to get it pretty quick. Same with the Pro Max right there. So same thing. Unfortunately, they're doing that. Now, the 12 Pro, again, pre-order right now starting at $999. These are going to be a little cheaper, $899, maybe $799. Depending on your configuration. Screen size is a little different here. Now, Apple tried to keep these the same size, but as you can see, this one's a little bigger. So you are going to be jumping up in size if you go for the Pro, the 12 Pro that is. Obviously, the boxier design is something as well. They're pretty close. I mean, 5.8 and 6.1, pretty close. 5G, of course, only on the 12 Pro. Now, for cameras and stuff, they're pretty similar, actually. However, this one has the Dolby Vision HDR video recording up to 60 FPS, which is a jump over the 12. So again, they're trying to differentiate their lineup. It is what it is, guys. That's how companies do it. 12 Pro is pretty good in the camera department. We do need to talk about the 12 Pro Max, and I will cover that in just a minute because that one has an even better camera system. The 12 Pro also has the LiDAR scanner, which the 12 Pro Max has as well. Faster autofocus, stuff like that. Most people don't care about that. A14 chip, going to be great. Here's something interesting. The 11 Pro has better battery life than the 12 Pro. This could be due to many different reasons. We're not sure how big the battery is in the 12 Pro yet, but it might be a little smaller. We don't have definitive proof of that yet, but when it comes out, of course, we'll be reporting on it. All have Face ID. This one has the ceramic shield, better water resistance, and the MagSafe stuff. They're all almost the same for storage, except for the 12 Pro starts at 128, which is great. Thankfully, they are starting it instead of 64 because 64 is not enough. I think 128 is a sweet spot. However, Apple's always a little bit behind, and I think 256 is going to have to be the norm starting next year, in my opinion, because I have 256 and I fill it up a decent amount sometimes. Anyways, here you can see the screen here. All the screens are pretty dang good. This one's a 1 million to 1 contrast. The other two are 2 million to 1. That's the main difference you're going to see here. I don't recommend the 10s anymore. I am actually using my 11 Pro all of this year, so I am not upgrading to the 12 at all. So I think the 11 Pro is going to be just fine for most people if they want something in the Pro sphere, but they don't want to jump up to the 12. 11 Pro seriously has great performance. Like I never get lag on anything. So great performance all around there. Now, real quick before I go here, I'm going to talk about the 12 Pro Max. This one is a big boy. So this is a 6.7 inch display. Even if I put the 11 Pro Max here, you will see it's even a bigger display than this one. And this one was way too big, at least in my opinion. So this one you can see is even taller, even wider. It's just, that's a no-go. But the cameras are a little better on this one than the 12 Pro even. But other than that, you're not getting a whole lot more. The battery life is fantastic on it. 20 hours is pretty good, same as the other one. Now let's quickly talk about the 12 mini because we didn't go over that one. Starts at $699, a very small screen, has 5G. Cameras are decent, not as much optical zoom, but here's the killer right here. 15 hours of video playback, so that's just their standard for what they're comparing here, but it has a very small battery in the 12 mini compared to the other models. So if you are someone that's on their phone all the time, jump up to the 12. I think you'll like it. The mini is just a little small and that battery is not going to last you all day if you are a heavy user. Resolution's still good. It's just a very small phone. You can see just how small it is. I mean, it's almost half the weight of 11 Pro Max. It's just crazy small. So that's my quick overview. We're going to be deep diving into all of the different models coming up very soon. I'm going to go in detail, in depth to help you guys make the best decision for you. So hopefully this helped. If it did, drop a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.